Exciting night, wasn't it? Auckland Cup night, Trillion Trust Auckland Cup night. It was the Woodlands Northern Derby too. An outstanding occasion and some wonderful pictures coming through from our trackside crew out of Alexandra Park. Nice to have you joining us this evening as part of your box seat. Hope your week is going well. We've got a stack of stuff to get through and we're about to get up to the boys in the north. Before we get there, news coming out of Addington Raceway today. Exciting news about the Derby, the Mascara Standardbreds nominations. 27 nominated for the 3-year-old Group 1, so that is terrific news. Up north we go though. Craig the Whale Thompson, Michael Guerin standing by off the back of a stellar week in Auckland. Very good evening to you boys.
Yeah, good evening, Greg. Good evening, everyone. Yes, it was a very successful Auckland Cup week, Greg. A little bit more quieter this week. We've got 5 domestic meetings, not a lot happening in New Zealand, but yeah, we'll preview them later in the show. Looking forward to that. Michael Guerin, very good evening to you. I understand you've got some good news to start the show.
I sure have, big man. The good news is that Peak, forgotten imported trotting star, has a broken bone in his leg. Doesn't sound like good news, but it's a lot better than the other news, which could have been a suspensory ligament damage. We know he's been sore for most of the summer. He's missed a couple of big races, including the Great Southern Star to come up in Melbourne next week. Spoke to Tim Butt today. The horse was scanned, Craig. Also X-rayed. Scan showed the ligaments fine. X-ray showed splint bone damage, but operated on Monday. They take that out. You're back where you started. Horse should be as good as gold. Whereas Greg, had he needed to have a suspensory worked on or looked after over the next couple of years, that'd be bad news. So not often you see a horse with a broken bone in his leg. Greg is good news, but as it turns out, for Peak, it is.
Yeah, certainly, Michael. Look forward to some more news with you right throughout the show. So let's have a look and see what we've got coming up in your rundown for the box seat tonight. And then we start off with the big question. Very interesting topic it is. We wrap up the Trillion Trust Auckland Cup. Talk to Paul Court, co-trainer of the winner, of course, Terra to Love. We've got the McCracken Sports Competition. Our Harness Historic, as asked by you, the viewers, Inky Lord and his wonderful win in the Cup. The Woodland Stud Northern Derby, we'll have a look at that too. Bricken Farms, Young Guns Cardigan Bay Stakes, and the Gotta Go Cullen Delightful Lady Classic to wrap up what was a wonderful night there at Alexandra Park. Fence talk, we have a special one out of Reefton with the legend of that district in Rion Murtha, our Whale Watch hit out hopefuls, and of course the domestic racing preview. And of course, the big question this week, well, it surrounds Terra to Love, and where does he rate amongst the greats? He's been unbelievable, of course, in the last 3 New Zealand Cups, a couple of placing in the Auckland Cup, and now he's secured his own Auckland Trotting Cup last Friday night. Now, as part of this, a flow on from that question, we're going to hear throughout the next 10 or 20 minutes or so about that. We're going to have a bit of a competition over the next month and work out who we believe are our top 5 in terms of performers in the last 20 years. Now, it's a pretty tricky sort of a task, I can tell you that. And there we have our top 6 stake earners over the last 20 years. And when you look at that lineup, it's a staggering array of some of our very, very best pacers. It's pacers only. Monkey King leads that list with almost $3.5 million. Change over the 2008 Cup winner. Terra to Love we've just talked about. Al Soup, he won an Auckland Cups and, of course, an Inter Dominion and a Hunter Cup. Yule Star won the Cup, Inter Dominion and a Hunter Cup. And Holmes DG won 4 derbies, along with an Auckland Cup and a couple of Miracle Miles. So there's just 6 of those who are possibly eligible. We want your thoughts on this too. I want you to send it via our Facebook page or to the box seat at tab.co.nz. And at the end of that, we'll have a McCracken Sports Prize for the person who we believe gets closest to us. So between myself, Craig the Whale Thompson, and Michael Guerin, we'll be rating our top 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So our very best will get 5 points. And we'll see who comes out on top as the box seat's best pacer in the last 20 years. Let's go back and have a look at one of those contenders. He took out the Auckland Cup last Friday.
They head out to the 800 metres in the Cup and Marcish leads. Adore Me now only a length away and back on the inside. Fly Like an Eagle then Besotted. Easy on the eye, 3 wide, no cover then. Savia Patrol there followed Pembroke Benny. Terror to Love 7 lengths off our leader as they work down the back there. Followed Jive and Cullen. Then came Maletzalo past them by Elusive Chick and Jason Rules. 30.6 the opening quarter. 29 and 8 the second off the back. 500 left to go and Adore Me now paces on to the lead. Over Easy on the eye. Marcish has gone on the inside. Pembroke Benny, he starts his claim out 3 wide and Terror to Love's only 2 lengths off them. 28 and 5 the quarter down the back. Further back is Besotted. Let's Elope but Adore Me for home. She's 4 lengths. Pembroke Benny. Here's Terror to Love. Adore Me in front. On the outside, Terror to Love is charging after the champion mare. Adore Me in front. The glamour boy of New Zealand harness racing, though he's finally going to get what he really deserves. An Auckland Cup and Terror to Love's in.
Richard Terence May, I'm picking this Auckland Cup victory. Your second in the race may have meant a wee bit to you.
Yeah, definitely, Greg. After the way he went last week, and haven't had a lot of luck in this race, to be fair. And he just had to get back on one of these good tracks over here to show his true worth.
You got a beautiful card into the race. That was going to be the key. Adore Me's dashed away at the top of the straight, though. You had a wee bit to do.
Yeah, no, I was travelling really well. I thought I might have sat too long, but he's got a pretty good sprint and he got there in the end, thank Christ.
All right, equalled the national record. Where does this rate amongst his greatest victories? Obviously, the 3 at Addington are big. Where do you sort of rate this one?
Oh, no, it's definitely right up there, all right, especially to come up here after the way he went last week. We know he never shows his form over there like he does here, so, yeah. No, he got like you said, he did get a nice run into it. It was a big help.
What about the job that Graham and Paul Court have done? They've just kept ticking him over at the crucial times, and every time they've wanted to peak him, they've been able to achieve the ultimate result.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's a pity it doesn't happen in Australia, but he's just a different horse here. He just felt fantastic in the preliminary and had a lot more life around the boxes. He was just a different horse here.
He's a very versatile horse, Rick. You've driven many, many good horses over the years, and that's what makes him such a great animal, doesn't it?
He really gives us his best. It doesn't matter what's wrong with him, he always tries, and I think that's what makes him so good.
Congratulations to you, Rick. You've won another Auckland Cup. Well done.
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah, just his second cup it was, of course, with Monkey King. He won his first in 2010, and I'm joined by Paul Court. Paul, thanks very much for coming and having a chat to us. Friday night, is it settled down around the barn at home now? Everyone pretty wrapped with that performance, weren't they?
Yeah, of course. It's one race we've sort of run second the last couple of times, so to finally win was really good.
What about his overall record? Look, he's clearly been an Addington star. But everywhere else he's gone in New Zealand, he's taken that class with him.
Yeah, definitely. He's done the job down south and definitely done it up north. So, he's got the all-round game, especially in New Zealand.
All right. In New Zealand, of course, he's had those 7 runs in Australia. His record is quite phenomenal. He's up over the $2 million mark now. Where does he sit in your mind? Where does he sit? We put up some of those stats before, and you're a little bit blown away by the fact that he's amongst those wonderful earners. When did you start thinking, gee, this guy, he's a pretty smart sort of an animal?
We always thought quite a lot of him, but there's a couple of races that stood out. Probably the Sapling Stakes when he really dashed away and showed a lot of speed to get away from Major Mark and horses like that. So. That among probably the Great Northern Derby and that, they were just outstanding. So
that's the race we want to have a look at. Of course, that was behind Sushi. So we'll chuck up that footage now. Now, coming around the final bend, look, he nearly tripped. He stumbled and he clearly lost more ground at the speed. This is him, of course, winning the Auckland Cup and dashing out wide to pick up Adore Me. What about at this point, when Rick goes for the plugs there? He had some ground to make up, didn't he?
Yeah, he definitely had a lot of ground to make up. Ricky sort of makes you have your heart in your mouth a few times, but he definitely knows where the line is, and he's just got so much speed and can really stay at the same time. So we were still pretty confident he was going to get there, but just makes it hard.
Your dad was saying that he is a lot lighter than what he would normally race, and that's conducive with his travel, of course. What about to your eye? Were you worried at all going into the Auckland Cup, or were you sort of thoughts eased by what your father was saying about him, because he clearly picked up as the week went on?
Yeah, I went down and had a look at him, and he definitely looked like he had lost a fair bit of weight, and probably the lightest I've ever seen him. And but Dad sort of said he's picked up the last couple of days quite a lot, and the race has just proved it really.
Pretty special night. Now, Terry McDonald, of course, hadn't been to every meeting because he didn't like to travel, etc. He's got a lot better at that. Here we are having a look at that derby we spoke about before. This is him coming widest on the track there. You see him go rough in his gate, and he had no right to even finish about where he is now. But he got very close to these horses. Sushi, Anvil's top gun on the inside. Have a look at him coming here. This is when I thought, gee, he is serious.
Yeah, definitely. For him to sort of trip over at the top of the straight there like he did, and still get home and run third against those class of horses, it's always very, you got a good one.
All right, so we spoke about Terry travelling. Judy May, she hasn't been big on the flying in recent times either. To get those two together, and they sat with each other on the plane to come up to Auckland, there were some pretty emotional scenes there in the birdcage, weren't there?
Yeah, I think so, and it's good that both of them were there, and especially Terry. He's really started to sprout his wings, might you say, and get around and watch him race, which is great.
All right, we've got a couple of gentlemen up north that want to have a chat to you. We're going to go to Craig the Wild Thompson first of all. Craig, I've sat with you watching a couple of those New Zealand Cups working for Trackside. They've been pretty special moments.
Oh, they have, Greg. The question I want to ask Paul is, I looked him go through the parade ring on Friday night, and his attitude was great. He was bouncing, if anything, a little bit colty. Paul, I mean, now as a 7-year-old stallion, is he hard to keep his mind on racing at the moment, or is he tending to think of other things as 7-year-old stallions do now? And around the place at the moment, does he know he's number one on the property, and is his attitude really good at the moment?
First of all, he knows he's number one around the stable. He's got a few twerks that he does, and we really know how to respond to that. And but Ricky even said that he was quite fresh out on the track, and he hadn't had the hobbles on since the Inter-Dominion final. So he's probably fresh like that. But it's him. It's what he does, and he's well when he does that.
Hey, Hanger, talking about where he stands in the lexicon of horses, I think a lot of people would have him in their top 5. Some people won't. If he wins 4 New Zealand Cups, he'll be in everybody's top 5. So what are the chances he's going to get the opportunity to do that?
It's just one of those things. I suppose we've got to have a round table and talk about after the Easter Cup, and sort of conjure up a plan and see what the story is. I know Terry's pretty keen on doing it, so I think we really got to do what's best for the horse and his future.
Mate, talking about this Menangle thing, it is the elephant in the room, and let's go back to the Cup. This is the first of your Cups. Now, in many ways, this was almost hard to believe. He's been round the field, pushed back to last, he's the widest runner, and he runs down smoking up. Did this even surprise you and your dad?
Well, I suppose it sort of did, really. We were sort of slightly confident, but you never know going into a New Zealand Cup. Like, it was our first time having a horse in the Cup. So, and with the run he got, it's sort of you sort of almost turn away and start walking away. But what a run it was, So I think everyone forgets what kind of speed he's got, especially save for one run.
Mate, let's talk about that Menangle thing. I know he doesn't have to perform at Menangle to be a great horse. There's plenty of horses over the years have not liked the track. Pride Petit, for example, went to Addington 21 times, never won there, so it's not uncommon. Do you put it down to the track? Because I don't. I think the fact he paced his last mile on 1:52 shows that maybe he doesn't get too bothered by the track surface. Maybe he just doesn't like the place.
Yeah, well, he actually ran his last mile on 1:51.6. But I sort of agree with that sometimes. We've had a few occasions where he did jar up, and he's always had sensitive feet. So a couple of times there, I can actually put it down to the track. But for example, last weekend over there in the Interdom final, for him to run home in 51.6, and you can't really blame the track. And if it was affecting him, he shouldn't have been able to run home in those times.
Yeah, Paul, going back to his 2013 Cup, I mean, that was probably the best run I've seen him in his 27 wins. He gave them a head start. He had Chris and me in front of him. Probably he went a hot favourite this day. Your thoughts mid-stages in the race when he had the early gallop and he ended up probably 15 to 20 lengths behind Chris and me. Tremendous performance to get up and win this race.
Yeah, definitely. You sort of, when he galloped there, your heart was in your mouth and you think, oh yeah, that's that. But once he got to the front, I actually I thought we had a glimmer of hope really. Once we put Chris and me 3 back on the fence, and it was a good drive for both Mark and Ricky really. But you know, Dad had him trained to the minute, and he done a super job.
Paul, you went away, went to Canada, had a spell over there. You've come back. I know how difficult it was to leave this horse behind because clearly you're not likely to find another one as good as him. You didn't miss out on too much though. You managed to get back in time for that 3rd Cup. And how special's it been for you and your father? Not often will a father-son combination get to train a good horse like this.
No, definitely. I think it's probably brought us a lot closer, and like you say, he's a once-in-a-lifetime horse, and to be able to share it with Dad and all the staff that have been there for such a long time, you know, it's really good.
Terry McDonald, he's quite rightly said he's getting to the twilight of his life, but he is enjoying the ride of his life, and of course his daughter Janine, who's been well documented, you know, how unwell she's been over recent times, but her and Tara have a special bond, don't they? Yeah,
of course they do, and you know, like going back to how special it is, it's really special obviously for both of them. Terry has been a long time friend of ours, and especially Dad's, and he's like a second father to me, so to be able to share it with them, it's outstanding.
All right, there's going to be plenty of people asking you the question pre and post the Easter Cup in regards to whether we'll see him for a 4th time. We'll leave that and let it be at the moment. I know there's plenty to be discussed in that regard, but thanks very much for coming and having a chat to us, taking time out, as you've done in the past, plenty of times on trackside. So, yeah, enjoy the moment. It's never easy to win races like the Auckland Cup, but you guys have done it with great aplomb.
Cheers, mate.
All right, there he is, Paul Court, and yeah, we do thank him for coming in. We probably should have got him to throw to these. Let's hear what the beaten drivers had to say about Terra to Love and him beating them. Mark, another national record. She's gone down a short margin. You must be very proud.
Yeah, very proud of her, Greg. She really tried hard and got a reasonable run, but and turning in, she had my hopes up. I thought we might pull it off, but no, great. It took a great horse to beat her.
Look, she pinched that break round the bend. She appeared to be travelling beautifully, but he's something else at his stage of his career, isn't he?
Oh, he is. Yeah, he's probably you know, one of the greatest horses we've probably had with what he's done.
What about her now? What do you do with her? Clearly, she's still got some big goals for the remainder of the season, including the harness jewels.
Yes, that'll probably be the main goal, I'd say, Greg, the harness jewels at the end.
Pretty proud of her, though, aren't you?
Oh, very proud of her. She tried hard.
Blair, we keep talking about him taking the next step. It was Group 1 company tonight, and he's gone a great race.
Yeah, couldn't be happier with him, Greg. You know, he's chased 2 champions home in the straight, and you know, he got held up around the corner. And to his credit, you know, he's picked up a horse like Pembroke Rennie, who's one of our greats. So you know, he's heading in the right direction.
Look, he's learning to race all the time too. What was he like out there tonight? Did he relax for you?
Yeah, he's a better horse this week, Greg. He, you know, they took the Murphy blind off him tonight, which last week it was on him, and he raced too fierce last week. And tonight he was pretty good. You know, he's wanting to get on it at stages, but you know, he came back to me at times, and you know, he's a horse that's going to learn every time he goes out there.
Considering this is only his 2nd real campaign, there's a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, you know, he's one of the stars of the future, I think. You know, Mark Jones and his foreman, Regan Todd, have done a super job with him and placed him where he's, you know, very competitive. And, you know, as I say, November, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, great rendition, wasn't it? The 124th running of the Trillion Trust Auckland Cup, won brilliantly by Terra to Love, but some great runs just in behind from the mare Adore Me and, of course, Savia Patrol. McCracken Sports giveaway time it is. Let's have a look at last week's and find out who was the winner. The question was, who was the latest to join the Australasian Young Drivers Championship list? He was the 11th winner as a Kiwi. 11 times we've won it before. Andre Putama, and Tony McKenzie was the winner from Nelson. So congratulations to you, Tony. What about this week's question? And this week's question does surround the last horse prior to Terra to Love to win the Auckland and New Zealand Cup in the same racing season? Send your answers along with a contact phone number and your postal address to the box seat at tab.co.nz. Do that by lunchtime on Monday. We'll draw a winner, and the winner will receive the following prize. So great to have McCracken Sportswear and Goods. It's a ladies' sports pack, so ladies, please enter. Men, you can enter as well and win a prize for your lady if you like.